Think he'd take me up in that thing or what?
Yeah, I think he's gonna ride.
We're all gonna go for a ride.
Sounds great.
I'll make sure your name's at the top of the list.
I appreciate it.
We present to you the next governor of the state of Illinois, the Honorable Bruce Rauner.
Bruce Rauner, here's my running mate, our future Lieutenant Governor, Evelyn Sanguinetti. Thank you for your patriotism. Thank you for your care about our community. Thank you for your caring about the future of our state. This is a critical election. We have got to get Pat Quinn out of office. This is our year. The worst governor in America. He has entered caused us in an economic death spiral. Our jobs are leaving, our companies are leaving, our taxes are rising, our schools are being defunded, our social services safety net's being shredded. And we are a great state. We are a proud state. We have great people. We have every reason to be prosperous. We deserve better. We deserve the best. And this is our year. We're going to restore the greatness of Illinois. We're going to restore the pride in Illinois again. This is a promise that Ellen and I are going to make you right here this morning. Right here, right now. This is a promise. This is our year. This is our election. We're going to sweep Pat Quinn into the dustbin of governor's history. I've never run for office in my life. I'm a self-made business guy. It's a big decision whether to run. In fact, we had a big debate in my family. We've got 6 kids. I've raised our 6 children here. We built businesses here. And I'm running because I love the state. This is our home. It's an emotional issue. This is our home. This is my home. This is your home. This is the home of our children and our grandchildren. And we want them to have a great future again in Illinois. And that's the reason I'm running. We had a big debate in my family whether I should run. Around the dinner table, my 6 kids, my wife and I. My youngest daughter said, "Daddy, don't run for governor. I don't want you to go to jail." Is that a sad comment when a 13-year-old girl knows that's what our governors do? And I said, "Katie, we've got to run to win because we've got to prosecute those rascals. Still a lot of corruption going on in Springfield." Evelyn and I want to turn Illinois around just the way the great governors around the Midwest are turning states around. Our role model is Mitch Daniels. Mitch Daniels was the best governor in America when he turned Indiana around. We are studying him. 2 of his folks are advising our campaign. Mitch Daniels is my role model. I've spent hours with him. I've also studied with Scott Walker, Rick Snyder, and many great governors around the Midwest. We're going to take their best ideas, their best people, and we're going to transform Springfield just the way they've done in the other states around the Midwest. Evelyn and I are running to accomplish 4 things. We're going to focus for you to accomplish 4 things. More jobs in a booming pro-business economy, lower taxes and spending, great schools, world-class schools in every school district, especially where we can restore vocational training, job training, technical training back into our education system again, because we've lost that here in Illinois. And then the fourth priority for us is term limits. We believe we should have term limits on every elected official in Springfield. 8 years and out. We're not waiting for the politicians to do it, because they'll never vote for it. They'll never vote. They like their power. They like having a law firm on the side or a business on the side making money from their political power. It's wrong and it's corrupt. We got to get them out. So we're going to take it to you. You are going to be able to decide about term limits yourselves. Evelyn and I have recruited an organization to come to Illinois that's put term limits on 15 state legislatures around America by voter referendum. We're going to do that here in Illinois. They are collecting petitions, signatures on petitions to do a constitutional amendment. And we've already collected 320,000 signatures. If we get that many signatures by May 4th, in good signatures that the politicians can't throw off the petition drive, it'll automatically go on the ballot in November. And then you can vote. You can decide for yourselves on the November general election whether you want term limits of 8 years. Evelyn and I are going to term limit ourselves at 8 years. When we go to work for you, if we're honored to be your governor or lieutenant governor, but we want it in everybody in the legislature. We're going to get it on the ballot. You can decide. And you know what? We've talked to voters all over the state. More than 3/4 of Republicans and more than 2/3 of Democrats support term limits. It's popular. It's the way to get the corruption out of Springfield and restore good government. Some of you may remember Adlai Stevenson. He was a leader in politics here in Illinois for a long time. He had a great line about the corruption in Springfield. Many years ago, he said it all the way back in the 1960s. He said, cleanliness is next to godliness, except in the Illinois legislature, where it's next to impossible. And that's a sad comment, but it's true. And we got to rip some of that out, and term limits can help us get that done. Now, very quickly, Evelyn and I, to give you a little bit of our background, so our personal history. I love Illinois. This is a battle about love of this state. I love this state. That's the reason I'm running. I was born here, raised here. I grew up in Lake County, up near Wisconsin. My dad was an electrical engineer, worked at Motorola. My mom was a nurse at Northwestern Hospital. My grandparents were dairy farmers in Whitewater, Wisconsin. My whole family were a Swedish immigrant family, and they were all dairy farmers in Wisconsin. I still raise some cattle and grow some crops myself, but that's not my primary business. I worked my way through school. I park cars, flip burgers. I'm an outdoorsman. I'm a gun owner. I'm a hunter. I'm a Second Amendment supporter. I'm a big Harley rider. I've been a motorcycle rider since I was 14. And we do a lot of the campaign from the back of the Harley. The ABA guys and the Harley riders, they've never had a ride or run for governor before, so these guys are all in. I mean, it's going to be a fun campaign. I worked my way through school. In college, I was a breakfast chef at 5 a.m. At night, I was a radio newsman. I've got a voice for radio. I get a really low voice. But my friends who see my political ads say, Bruce, you do have a great voice for radio, but you have a face for radio too, staff and television. And I tell them, no, we're going to run our TV ads. When I got out of school, I met two executives at the First National Bank of Chicago who were starting an investment firm, a venture capital firm, helping start and grow technology companies. I joined them right out of school. I was employee number 5, and I was there for 32 years, and we built it into one of the most successful investment companies in America. We did a great job. Not only did we create great businesses, but I'm very proud of the fact that we managed money on behalf of pension funds, state government union pension funds in Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, many states. And I'm proud of the fact that my firm and I worked for teachers. We worked for police officers. We worked for firefighters. We worked for government workers. And we did a great job. The government worker pensions in Illinois were making about 7 or 7.5% the last 30 years. My firm did almost 2.5 times that, almost 18%, compound annually for 32 years. We made a better retirement for our teachers, police officers, and public servants, and we saved taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars around America. I want to bring that business success into Springfield and run Springfield like a business. Bring down the spending, bring down the bureaucracy, bring up the transparency so it's an efficient, effective government. Run for your benefit again, rather than for those special interest groups there in Springfield. My running mate is Evelyn Sanguinetti. She's a superstar. We interviewed 30 superstar leaders from around the state of Illinois to find our next lieutenant governor. We were honored that Evelyn chose to join me in this race. I'll turn it over to Evelyn to address you for just a second. Evelyn?
Evelyn Sanguinetti. I'm 4'11", but don't confuse my size with weakness. A little bit about myself. My story is not your typical story, but it's definitely very American. My mother's from Fidel Castro's Cuba, as you know, a place where no freedoms are to be had. And my father is from Ecuador, one of the poorest countries in the world. For both families, the United States presented their last and only hope to a good life. So they both arrived to Miami, Florida, and met shortly thereafter. I was born when Mom was 15 years old, and I'm very grateful that she chose to have and to keep me. As a child raised by children, we stayed together, but times were tough. From an educational standpoint, I gotta say, things didn't work out very well for me growing up in the ghettos of Miami. I failed the first grade, but another educational opportunity opened up for me in high school. I was allowed into a magnet school, and I played a little bit of piano. They transformed me into a classical concert pianist. It was with that initial educational opportunity that I was able to rise out of the bad neighborhoods of Miami and go to college on a scholarship. It was with that opportunity that I was later able to go to the John Marshall Law School, a law school where I serve as an adjunct professor of law today. And it was with that opportunity that I later became an assistant attorney general in Illinois under former Illinois Attorney General Jim Ryan. No doubt, Illinois is a great place to live, but it's not that way for everyone, folks. And I gotta say, I'm a product of the safety net. The safety net saved me. Growing up, I had to take food stamps, I had to be on public aid, and I had to use that free lunch card. But what Bruce and I are here to tell the people of Illinois today is that we could be so much more than just a safety net. What we need to offer our people are things in the way of good jobs and a sound education, so that people like me could rise out of that safety net and be all they could be on their own power. You see, that's the American dream. That's the American dream. I've lived it, and I know that's what Illinoisans want today, not a hand-me-down. So when I met Bruce, I was so delighted to sign on with him because he is what Illinois so desperately needs today. You see, during a time that governor after governor goes to prison, it's Bruce Rauner that's a complete outsider, didn't even run for student council. And during a time when our economy is a sheer mess, it's Bruce Rauner that has the business acumen to get us out of that mess. And during a time that the powerful special interests are speaking to the minds of many of our decision makers out in Springfield, it's Bruce Rauner that will speak truth to that power. And finally, during a time when many of our schools are failing us all around Illinois, it's Bruce Rauner that's dedicated a large part of his life to school reform, thereby touching the lives of kids that grew up in neighborhoods a lot like the neighborhoods that I grew up in. So if Bruce Rauner knew Spanish, he'd tell you, vamos a sacudir a Springfield, y vamos a traer de vuelta Illinois. Let's shake up Springfield, and let's bring back Illinois, folks. Thank you for having me today.
And I to be here. We want to go to work for you. We want to work for you, restore government that's serving your interests, working for you rather than the special interests in Springfield. If I become governor, I am not going to take a salary. I can afford not to. I've done well in business. I'm not going to take a pension. I don't need a pension, and I don't know if you've noticed what pensions the legislators get or the politicians get. It's unaffordable. It's unfair. These legislators are part-time jobs, and they get incredible pensions. One of the first things I'll do as governor is sponsor a bill to term limit myself and Evelyn, but also put the legislators into 401ks just like the voters have in your lives. We're going to turn this state around and run for your benefit in an efficient, effective, transparent way. I know Evelyn and I are doing great because Pat Quinn and his allies are running really scared. The powerful interests in Springfield are going, uh-oh, Rauner and Sanguinetti are good, they can win, and they're going to beat our boy Quinn. So they've already decided to try to hijack the Republican primary. They're spending millions of dollars right now running attack ads against Evelyn and me. And they're Democrats. They're coming over to hijack our primary. They're running TV ads accusing Evelyn and I of all kinds of false and misleading baloney. They even sent out a mailer. They called it a Republican mailer for funds and jobs or something like, I don't even know what it was called, but they called it Republican. And that thing was not Republican. It was funded by one of Pat Quinn's biggest donor groups, one of the biggest funders of the Democratic Governors Association. They're trying to sneak in and hijack our primary. But we're not going to let them do it. We are going to unite our Republican Party rebuild our Republican Party around the core values that have made America great. Limited government, low taxes, individual liberty, personal responsibility. We are going to be a powerful Republican Party. We are going to be a two-party state again, instead of a party that state run by only Democrats. And we're going to be competitive in every election going forward. That's the commitment Evelyn and I have to you. We're going out there working really hard 7 days a week. We're traveling the state every day, 7 days a week. We put 52,000 miles on the Ford last 9 months of last year, driving the state of Illinois. This is a wonderful part of the state. We'll be here many times during the campaign trail. And we know if your communities here are thriving, if Lawrence County is thriving, that means Illinois is thriving. We want your communities booming with great jobs, economic growth, great schools, great vocational training, and politicians who are working for your interests, where you're getting value for your tax dollars. Today, your home values in too many cases have gone down, and your taxes have gone up. It's wrong. It's not fair. We have got to turn this around, and we're going to do it for you. We've got 2,000 volunteers in our ground game around the state. We've got 6,000, almost 6,000 donors. We've got great momentum. We're leading in the polls, and we're running for the goal line Tuesday night. If you haven't voted yet, get out and vote. Today's last day of early voting. Get out and you can vote early. Don't vote often like they do in Chicago. Don't do that. But get out and vote early. And if you can't get vote today, but you have a vote Tuesday, and get your friends to get out and vote Tuesday. It's critical. Turnout matters. The Democrats have already said Rauner and Sanguinetti are going to shake up Springfield. They're the outsiders who are going to change the system. We should get over, and many Democrats are saying, go over and pull a Republican ballot and vote against Rauner and Sanguinetti. They're doing that right now. And so we got to turn out our side. We got to get Republicans out to the polls, vote, get your friends, get your neighbors to vote. The future of our party, the future of our state is on the line. This is about the love of our home. We're going to turn this election into a victory for the people again, restore our prosperity. Let's make Illinois proud. Let's make Illinois great. Let's win this election. God bless you. Thank you very much. Patriot here in Roscoe. Let's give Roscoe a round. Thank you so much. Let's go win this race. Thank you.